Welcome back, everybody. On here, and this is I Played a Thing, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Last time, we finished up with the DLC. We picked up all 3 of the last crowns, we got the Blessing of Vendrick that keeps us from going hollow, and life is pretty good. Now we only have to finish up with a little bit of optional content, that being the Dark Chasm of Old, which will have an optional boss at the end, and a rather tough one indeed, but I think we can handle it. And there is very little preliminary matter to go over today, just spending some of our souls, getting some levels. Also, I am wearing the Pardoner set once again, or the... what's it called in this one? The Justice set? Judgment. And we are wearing the Judgment set with the exception of our usual engraved bracers for the critical hits, and on my noggin, I've got the Crown of the Ivory King for the HP regen. I don't think I need the item discovery boost this time, because there's really nothing exciting in the way of drops in the Dark Chasm, so we'll take the HP regen. Alright, let's see. Adaptability will not give us any gains at this level, but if we go one more level up it will. So I'll go ahead and put 2 into that, and let me see after that if I've got any consumables, because I'm not too far up from one more level. Yeah, Brave Warrior, let's see if that'll be enough. It will. Let's see, adaptability would once again increase agility. But I'm feeling paranoid about my HP. We'll save the agility for later. Alright, so you may recall there are 3 places we can meet up with Dark Diver Grandal, those being the basement of Drangleic Castle, in the hole in the Shaded Woods, and in the Black Gulch. Now, I like to do these in the order of most difficult to least, and a lot of people find the Drangleic Castle one to be the toughest. For my money, it is actually the one in Black Gulch that I tend to have the most trouble with. Don't know why, that one's just a little nastier for me. So that's where we're gonna go first. Here we go. I think starting from the hidden chamber will be slightly better. Alright, I was actually thinking I might burn one, but... tears indeed. Yeah, it looks like my... ow. Oh, right, the Coltars. So we're just gonna make our way gradually to where the drop-off is, which I think is gonna be... right around the point, right around across from where that second Razorback worm comes out. Is that right? I think that's roughly right. Oh, Coltars again. Don't want to get grabbed, that will still hurt quite a bit even at this point in the game. Let me kill off this Razorback here. That will put us right about where we need to be, I think. Where exactly is that drop-off? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and kill off the second one just so it stops making noise. Oh, got greedy. Naturally, if I get killed in the Dark Chasm, which is entirely possible, I will cut it out if I have to do this run again. Been a while since I did this, so I don't remember exactly where the drop is. Is this the spot? Yeah, below. Thank you, message. Here's the spot. Make sure we're topped up. And I should also change my ring, because I do not have that many souls on me, so I'm not that worried about dropping them. And also, I don't have to worry about hollowing because I am wearing that crown of the Ivory King.
Finally, you are here, young undead. Now, young up.
Yeah, nothing we haven't heard before, so I'll just skip through all that. Go ahead and rejoin the Covenant. And now that we are once again a Pilgrim of Dark... Actually, does he have anything interesting to buy while I'm in the neighborhood? No, not really, and I don't have the souls for it anyway. Alright, let's go ahead and feed him an effigy.
The dark, if you seek the dark. Undead, may the dark shine your way. May the dark shine your way.
It's kind of interesting that the dark actually does shine. It provides a light source. So, as I've discussed before, the Dark Chasm of Old is a series of challenge dungeons focusing around nasty NPC enemies. They're all human-type foes, they just have pretty badass equipment, and they can hit quite hard. The layouts are very simple, pretty linear. You just have to defeat all the enemies, light a big brazier full of oil, and then the exit will make itself visible. Now, this one I find to be the hardest just because I find the enemies to be the most trouble, and they sometimes pull two at a time, which is very bad. But for starters, what we're going to do is creep up, and our first enemy is going to be someone wearing the Ironclad set, so they look like an Ironclad, but it is just a human. They'll be dual-wielding, I believe, Drakekeeper hammers, and yeah, they're just a tough nut to crack, but sometimes I can get a Toxic Mist off on them. And if I'm really lucky, I might be able to double that up with poison from my hammer. Indeed. Oh, and by the way, it's also possible to get invaded down here, although in my experience it rarely happens. There's that Ironclad. And I'm seen. Let's see if we can bait him to attack so we can get the cloud off. Oh shit, that didn't go well. But I did get him toxified, that's good. That at least is one positive. Oh! It's getting the guard break off on me, that's no fun. I gotta be careful because I can not actually backstab him, because wearing the turtle armor prevents backstabs. On the bright side, it doesn't seem like the... Oh no, you don't. Oh, he's got great poise. Well, that figures he is wearing the Ironclad set. My Toxic is gone. Oh, and the Pyromancer found me. That's not too good. There's a Pyromancer dressed like Xanthus King Jeremiah that is the second enemy here, and he likes to show up too. Actually, I should have brought in the, Yeah, I really should have brought my, Gurm Shield here. That would have been a better choice than the Hovel Shield. Yeah, I think this one's not going to work out for me. Especially if I keep getting shot in the back by this jerk-ass. Good news is I can backstab him, although the animation may get me killed. Yeah, that's honestly about what I expected the way that one got going. Ah, well, it happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and get myself back there, and we will cut in for the second try.
May the dark.
Alrighty, let the fun resume. This time I think maybe I'm not going to worry about getting my poison off. I'll just try and get the toxic off. Because I think I might have a little more luck poise breaking the ironclad with my big old sword than I do with my little old hammer. And poise breaking him I think would be exceedingly helpful. I'm going to try waking him up by coming around the curve this time. Maybe I'll have a little more luck not activating the pyro that way. Yeah, come on up. Let's not drag this out for either of us. Oh. Alright, toxed. That's good. Oh, but there comes Jeremiah. Alright, we want to end this as quickly as we can. Yeah, that worked out better. Still forgot to put my Germ shield on, but you know what? I'm happier with the way things are going. Yeah, you just go ahead and blast me. I'm just gonna chop you on down. Matter of fact, I'm gonna chop you off a cliff. Doesn't kill him, but whatever. That'll give me a moment to put my other shield on. There we go. Now I have much less to fear from his fire. Ha-ha! Okay, lesson learned. Do not fuck around with the hammer. Just poise break the ironclad and beat him down. And by the way, I think every enemy in any of the Dark Chasm dungeons will just drop bonfire ascetics, which could possibly be a useful thing if you need to farm them, but I don't really care. Oh yeah, and these guys are just basically the Winter Warlocks from Aleum Lois, just a non-ice version. I don't want to mess around with you, so I'm just going to fill you full of holes. Actually, can you be poisoned too? I know your winter version can. Yeah. So I don't have to mess around with that guy. Yeah, we can move on. Now, there's going to be another set of 3 enemies as we proceed onward that's exactly the same as the first. Another Ironclad, another Xanthus King Jeremiah, and another tree guy. Well, I don't remember exactly where they are, so I'm going to stand ready. Get ready to pop off another toxic. Oh, okay. The path to the left here, if this message is to be believed, is where we light the torch. Yes, there does appear to be a hole ahead, so we will be wary of that. We creep around. We find the brazier. And I believe you absolutely have to bring flame butterflies to these, because you do have to use your torch to light the braziers, and I don't think there's anything else down here that you can light a fire off of. Now that that's done, it'll stay lit even if we have to redo the dungeon, so we won't have to worry about that ever again. Just like braziers in the regular world, yeah, those stay lit for once and for good once you set them off. Ah, yes, I actually do remember this. And you saw a little glimpse of him right there on the right. That's the ironclad. See if I can get a lock on him. There we go. Maybe I can even miss him from here. Let's try. Yeah! Cool. Alright, I'm pleased with that. I'm not sure I ever figured that out before. Let's see if we can get him away from the edge and avoid waking up Jeremiah. Nope, Jeremiah's awake. Well, that's alright. Knocked him down. Maybe the toxic will kill him before he gets back up here. It will. Ho ho ho! I'm happy. Because once the ironclad's out of the way, dealing with Jeremiah becomes much easier. Now, is he going to come up and party? Yeah, here he comes. You know what? I've got a shield that's immune to all your bullshit. And you're going to die a lot faster than your friend. Eat shit. And onward we go. This guy's no real threat, he's just there for a little extra enemy flavor. Indeed. And you would be fighting the boss at the end of this if this was your last Dark Chasm of Old, but it's not. Once you've finished all three, whenever you get to the exit, you fight the boss. But this is our first one, so we're not going to do that. Anyway, once you have defeated all the phantom enemies and have lit the brazier, then you will be able to see the exit, which is just this hole filled with glowing smoke. Take the plunge. And if you've fulfilled all the requirements, that will take you out of the chasm. And now if we talk to Grandal, he will congratulate us and we will level up in the Covenant.
Young undead, the dark beset upon you runs deeper than I had imagined. Let us see just how much dark you can endure. You have seen dark that has existed from times long past. What once was a great void of darkness became but fragments. But slowly, the scattered fragments grew, absorbing all things. It is we who will be pilgrims to these sacred sites.
Alright, so some cryptic story from our buddy Grandal there, and we get Resonant Soul, which is a dark elemental weapon buff. Don't think anything changes about his stock, and indeed nothing does. So I'm fairly pleased with that. We do have the most difficult for me of the Dark Chasm dungeons all taken care of. The only other thing that's really, really hard about the Dark Chasm of Old is the boss. And so, for a while, it should be downhill a little bit. Those ironclads can really give me a hard time.
May the dark shine your way.
Back at you, Wheels. Alright, we can just feather on out of here, and we are all ready to move on to our next stop, which is going to be the one in Drangleic Castle basement. The easiest one, for my money, is the one in the Shaded Woods, so that's the one I want for the boss fight. Because that one, if the boss kills me, I can repeat it relatively easily and get to him again. So, off to Drangleic Castle. And under Castle Drangleic is the one we want. I'm gonna have a Darkstalker here, so I'll just get that out of the way and be done with it. Whoops! Bled me out. Oh, and that's interesting. You may recall this is the place that we found Grandal for the last time in our initial meetings of him, and he did his free Dark Chasm open for us. I did not accept it, and it stayed open. I didn't think that would happen.
Finally, not young. May the dark.
Cool. So, yeah, we still get our free one. I am happy about that. I mean, it just saves one effigy, but one effigy I don't have to use is one effigy I'll have for later. Alright, this particular Dark Chasm instance does have some fairly heavy-duty enemies. And in fact, they're enemies that we've seen in the previous game, sort of. I don't know if these are actually their souls still living, or if it is just doppelgangers of them, but yeah, you'll recognize some folks that we've encountered, or that we'll be encountering here, if you're familiar enough with Dark Souls 1. Now, it's kind of dark here, there's a slightly bendy path, and if we fall off the path, we are going to die, but I think I can see it clearly enough. If not, I could always use Cast Light. Lighting a torch would also be an option, but we would burn a flame butterfly that way. And also the flame might attract some enemies, make them aggro us a little sooner than I quite would like. But no, this is actually... Sometimes I have trouble seeing the path here, but I don't know if I turned up my brightness or what, but I'm seeing it just fine today. Once we approach this cave... Well, actually, once we proceed through this cave mouth, I believe, we're going to have the first of our enemies, possibly the second one. That wasn't what I wanted. Oh, that's right, I deattuned magic weapon. That's alright. While I'm thinking of it, there's no fire to worry about here, so let's put on the hovel shield again. We will creep forward, and we will hopefully aggro just one enemy, but that is not always reliable. There he is. Oh, and he's not immediately seeing me. Interesting. I wonder if I can blast him from here. I don't think that hit. Well, anyway, you know who this is. It's Hovel the Rock. I suppose it could also be... Ancient Soldier Varg of the Gank Squad, but... Well, the Dark Chasm was here before the DLC was, so I'm assuming it's supposed to be Hovel. That fight went shockingly well. Knocking him off the cliff is a valid technique. Anyway, creeping on ahead in this direction, we should fairly shortly... Oh, there's gonna be a tree guy first. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and poison him and be done with it. Just get out of the way so he doesn't shoot at me. That's interesting. Usually the next guy activates at this point. Actually, sometimes he activates while I'm fighting Hovel. Where's he at? Does he patrol and maybe not activate at certain points in his patrol route? Where the hell is he? Not entirely sure what's going on here. Make sure he doesn't creep up behind me. Okay, here's the brazier, so I can at least get that out of the way. That way, even if we die, we no longer have to worry about lighting this. Nimble one ahead. Sounds like it might be the guy I'm thinking of. Is this where he activates? Yeah! And it may be a little more difficult to tell who this is meant to be, but maybe you recognize that weapon. Yeah, it's Undead Prince Ricard. Of Ricard's rapier fame. And that poise break approach is working out once again for me. Oh, I thought that killed him. Oh well, one more hit, nothing to worry about there. And we're gonna have one more enemy. I don't remember exactly where they are, so we'll just be alert. Ah, looks like right over there. Well, let's get your attention. I'm not sure if this is actually supposed to represent anyone in particular or not. I think they have like 2 shotels, so maybe it might represent Lautrec in a roundabout way. Of course, there's no actual embraced armor in this one. Yeah, that might be our Lautrec stand-in. I'm really not sure. Mind those guard breaks in any case. Oh, that other weapon wasn't even a shotel, so I don't know who that's supposed to be, if anyone. But yeah, we've taken down Havel, we've taken down Ricard, we've taken down whoever that is, and I think we're done. Haha. Do we have the glow? We don't have the glow, so maybe there's another tree guy kicking around somewhere. I think if there is, he does count as one of the enemies, so we'll have to take him out. Oh wait, never mind, this is the exit, not the other one. So yeah, second Dark Chasm, all clear.
Finally, you are here now, young up.
Wait, what? Did I not do it right?
The embrace. May the dark.
Huh. I feel I ought to be getting another Covenant level up here. Did I fuck it up? Hang on a second, I'm going to check something here. Okay, no, I'm actually fine. Sorry about that, I thought maybe something had gone wrong, but in fact, I don't actually get my next Covenant level up until I have finished up with all 3 Dark Chasms of Old. And then you get the final Covenant level up when you defeat the boss. So yeah, we're just fine. So I can cruise on out of here, kill my Darkstalker again. And then we can go off to the Shaded Woods for the final Dark Chasm. And whether or not we actually win against the boss, we'll get our next Covenant level. Oh, I think when I was farming items here, I actually permanently despawned most of the enemies in the immediate area. So I was trying to get the lion sets. And ended up killing so many enemies, I think most of them ran out of respawns. So we should have a pretty pain-free run back to the hole. This is not the one that leads to Grandal, is it? Can't remember if it's this one or the other one. Well, if I screw it up, we can backtrack easily enough. I think this is it. Yeah, got it right for a change. How about that? Alright, G-Money. Open up my last one.
Finally, not young. The mouth to the dark chasm is not normally open. If you seek the dark, young undead, you must offer a human effigy. Young undead, may the dark shine your way.
It occurred to me after I fast-forwarded through it before. I couldn't remember if I had ever actually let the talk about the human effigy play out before, so we did it this time.
May the dark shine your way.
I appreciate it, buddy. Now, this particular dark chasm you can't totally sleep on because it's still not easy per se, but it is definitely the easiest out of the three for me, usually. Still die sometimes, but relatively rarely. I think there's nothing but a hole over here. And so it ends up being the one that I like to do for the boss fight because, as I mentioned, I can re-clear the dungeon relatively quickly in order to refight the boss. Big old hole there. And then down this way to the left, I believe is where we're going to pull our first enemy. There he is. Does he see me? You want to be careful because there are two enemies here, and if you're not careful, you can fairly easily pull the second one. Fighting them both at the same time will make this a lot more difficult. Maybe if I'm lucky, I can get some poison off here. Good. This guy does have a bow, so you want to be careful until he gets into melee range. You want to be careful backing up, because not that far behind me there is going to be a drop-off. Come on. Oh, you don't. I think I might have just pulled the second guy, but if that happens, so be it. This one ought to die in a second anyway. There is also a tree guy back there, but he doesn't tend to aggro too overly easily. This guy's really being oblivious. Oh, we'll punish him for it. I believe he also has a bow. But he's gonna come right up. He attacks fast and can potentially stun lock you, so that's a thing to be careful of. But he too goes down in relatively short order. We'll get rid of Tree Guy, and then we'll spark up the Brazier. We're not out of the woods yet after we do that, but... that's one thing we have to do one way or the other. After you've lit the torch, if you end up having to come back here, this actually does make this room a little bit harder, because it does improve enemy visibility and makes it more likely that you're going to aggro both dudes from further away. But if we end up having that problem, we'll deal with it when it comes. We have a little more work to do before we reach the end. This is just going to summon an elevator. And down we go. Now when we reach the bottom, there's actually going to be another guy there, but we can have him follow us back to the elevator, and he can't come in. So if we just kite him back to the elevator, we can attack him from there with impunity. So I'm just going to get his attention like so. Put some poison on him. And get him to come back this way, where he can harm us no more. He'll just have to stand there in the door to the elevator and be powerless to pursue. And we can just pepper him at our leisure. Oh, poison didn't quite do it, but that's okay. And now I cannot remember reliably if that was the last dude, or if there is one more. But as we proceed onward, we will surely find out. I think that might have been the last dude, because it looks like we've got our exit up ahead. Yep, there's our foggy hole. So, it's time to prep for the boss. My preferred loadout for this? Well, basic equipment is fine just like it is. In my spare ring slot, I like to put on... where is it? Yorg's ring. Reason being, this ring sometimes randomly causes spells to fail when they're used against you. And most of this enemy's attacks count as spells. So, as a matter of fact, if you silence him, he loses most of his attacks. The other thing that I like to bring along, that's very out of the ordinary for me, this is what I've been saving that powered-up Rebel's Great Shield for. All of the boss's attacks at the end of the Dark Chasm of Old are elemental. He has no physical damage whatsoever. So the poor physical block of the Rebel's Great Shield, not an issue at all. But it has excellent elemental block. None of it perfect, but all of it very high. And so that helps out a lot. And finally, as one of the messages in the previous Dark Chasm suggested, he is very weak to fire. Smells like Smelter Sword to me. All that said, this is quite a challenge, and it won't be terribly surprising to me if I die, but we'll give this our best shot. The fight's gonna get going pretty much as soon as I drop down, so wish me luck. Alright, meet the Dark Lurker. Attack number 1 is going to be that Dark Soul Spear thing. This, he shoots a dark ball into one portal, it comes out the other. I always prefer to block that one, because it has a big AoE, and it often catches me. And there's his melee range attack that he prefers to use close up, just summoning a sort of dark energy beam sword, and he can combo with that. And you see he takes quite good damage from fire. I like to stay up in his shit because that makes him use his... Oh, there's an AoE that he also has close up, that's something to be wary of. But staying in close and getting him to use the sword as much as possible gives you good opportunities to dodge and counter. Now when his fight gets into, or rather when his health gets to about, oh, he's doing the dark ball again, so I want to be ready to block. Take a little chip damage from that, but that's okay. It's better than trying to dodge it and getting hit by the AoE, because I really have a very difficult time dodging that blast. His melee attack comes out pretty slow, so that's actually pretty helpful. Anyway, as I was saying, when he gets to about 50% health, he's going to drop into, or split into, 2 bodies, and that's when the fight really gets going. When you have to fight 2 of them, it is much, much more dangerous. The good news is the 2 of them share a health bar, so if you can hit both at the same time, you'll do double damage. Oh, he's splitting. Now is when I have to get really careful, make sure I keep tabs on both of them. When he flies up like that, usually he's going to do a dark laser, which is very painful, but also not too hard to dodge usually. Okay, where's the ball coming from? There it is. Avoided it entirely that time, which is fine by me. Oh, as you can see, he also has some pyro. Whoops, that's gonna hurt. Glug glug. Okay, I would like to get the 2 to come close to me so that they both try to melee me. That is what makes this fight easiest, if they're both just using their sword on you, because then you can dodge both swords, and you can double hit them for double damage. Oh shit. Come on in. Oh, nope, you're gonna do fire. That's okay. You get to. Okay, Dark Ball. That is the most worrying attack because sometimes I miss where it's coming from, sometimes the AoE catches me from behind. Just a high-risk sort of situation. Yeah, you go ahead and do that. Break my guard if you have to. I just want you coming in close, so I can keep tabs on you and I can maybe double hit you if I get lucky. Okay, laser's not perfectly what I want, but... Oh shit! Oh shit. Chug-a-lug salad. Good job. Okay, he teleported. Where is he at? There he is. He's gonna soul spear at me. Okay. We're good. We're both meleeing. We like that. You're meleeing. I like that. You're gonna do what? You're gonna teleport. What are you gonna do now? Why don't you come in for some more melee? That's good. Synchronize up. We like that. Okay. Running low. Running low. I like that. We're just gonna projectile spam at me. Oh, shit. Chug chug. Ah, damn it, so close! That's a heartbreaker right there. Oh well. At least you've seen everything now that the Dark Lurker has to offer, pretty much, so... No big deal. No big deal. Next time I can focus on just getting the battle done with. I'm going to change my loadout back to the one that's better for fighting through the chasm. And then we will cut out, and I will rejoin you when it's go time again. See you in a bit. Quick interjection, folks. I don't think I ever noticed this before. This is interesting. Having Vendrick's Blessing and wearing one of the Lost Crowns appears to make me completely immune to curse, just like the Hollow Mask. Neat. Oh, and I also leveled up in the Covenant.
I knew that you were special. There is more dark within you than even you know. Dark is the mother of all. All things were born from it.
And thus we acquire Great Resonant Soul, which is an improved Dark Weapon buff. Yeah, once you've finished the 3rd Dark Chasm, even if you do lose to the Dark Lurker, you do get your second to last Covenant level up there. It's when we actually defeat the Dark Lurker that we finally max out the Covenant. Anyway, I'll be back in just a bit. Okay, I am back at the exit. I've got my Dark Lurker loadout re-equipped. Interesting that my soul pile appears outside the boss arena. I did not remember that aspect. Oh, how I wish I could get some help down here, but sadly summoning and co-op are not possible in the Dark Chasm of Old, even though invasions are. Alright. Everything is in order. Do have my Rebel Shield, my Smelter Sword, and my Yorg Ring. Alright, let's go for it. Top up that last bit of health before I go in. Now we're ready. Now I can probably do a little less talking you through the attack loadout and focusing on actually fighting the boss. Go ahead, bring your ball. Oh, caught me from behind. Crap. Well, that's alright. We got time to drink. Want to take another swing at me, friendo? That's what I like to see. That dark magic sword, by the way, is the only attack that he keeps if you silence him. Even though it is a purely elemental attack and doesn't do any physical damage, yeah, it does count as something that is not strictly a spell, and so he can use it even if you've cast Profound Still on him. Whoops! Took a little chip from the laser, but that's okay. Just got careless there. Okay, the Fire Blast doesn't do great damage against it. Good to know. Oh, we're doing Dark Portal again. That's okay. I see where it's coming. I can take it on the shield. That does absolutely wreck your stamina, so I am glad that my shield is as stable as it can get. Oh, got a little caught on the geometry there. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, buddy? Fuck, I totally lost him. There he is. Okay, just a spear, that's fine. Another spear, that's also fine. What you gonna do, friend? Another spear, that's still fine. Top up a little bit. What you gonna... Okay, we're going for portal. We're going for portal, so I want to make sure I can take this on the shield. Good. We're going for pyro. That we can just strafe to the side of, because it doesn't have such an AoE effect. And now you're gonna do more fire. Okay, that's fine. Now we're gonna do... Oh, we're gonna split. Okay. I thought he always did that on taking damage, but apparently not. Where'd your other half go? There you are. I want to make sure he's not doing that explosive dark orb at all times, because that's the attack that's really going to screw me if it hits me. Oh, got a little bit of the laser, but again, that's okay. What I would really like... Oh, it's the portal. Ah, damn it. Yeah, you come on in. Where's your friend and what's he... Oh! Good teamwork. Alright. Smelter, Yorg, and Raimset armed. Third time's a charm, right? Let's go for it. Oh, leading off with the melee. That's somewhat unusual. I could probably stand to be a little more aggressive, but I do not trust him. Got caught a little bit by the AoE there, but that's okay. One helpful thing is that his aim with the melee slash is not actually all that good. There you are. Soul Spear, that's okay. Oh, slow on the dodge. That's alright, as long as I can get my heals in. Okay, we're doing the portal thing again. Go ahead and backpedal, take it on the shield. Oh, and I got a rating. Isn't that nice? Didn't really need the heal right now. It'd be nice if it came at a slightly more useful time, but I'll still take it. Oh, mistimed my dodge. took both sides of the combo. Man, does that ever suck. So you're gonna melee again, right? No, you're not. You're gonna spear. Alright, well that gives me enough time to drink, so that's okay. Oh, we're splitting. We splitting. And we're doing melee, so I'm fine with that. Okay, you could stay. Oh, we're doing the portal. Where's it coming from? Where's it coming from? I lost track of it. Okay, good. As long as I can take it on the shield, that's all I care about. Laser, we get inside of it and we're fine. Double laser. What does it mean? They're going to be fairly close by, so I can keep tabs on them. One of them I lost track of. Where's he at? There he is. I don't care. You can melee if you want to. You can spear if you want to. Okay, melee and laser is not a terrible combination. That lets me keep tabs on you. You both going to go melee? Please say yes, won't you? What do we got going on? Oh, we got a portal going. Okay, still only caught me with a little bit of the AoE, that's fine. I can be patient with these guys. Picking shots is helpful. Just want to get them both in for that big melee if we can. So I can tank these guys all day with the Rebel Great Shield. Well, maybe technically not all day, because I do take some chip damage, but it's not that bad. Okay, laser, fine. Spear, fine. Melee, fine. Double melee, more than fine. Oh, dodged melee, less than fine. Oh, took that one on the chin. No, actually it looks like I didn't. Thought I was going to get all of that, but it only damaged me a little bit, so I guess I did catch it on the shield. Pyro is dodgeable. Portal is less dodgeable, so we want to be careful about that. Holy shit, I didn't even see where that went. But it worked out. Oh! Oh, man. Lesson learned, tanking does have its limitations. Alrighty folks, post-commentary begins here. I had 2 more unsuccessful efforts, so this is going to be attempt number 6, finally the successful one. I wasn't getting a whole lot of benefit from the Yorg ring, it seemed, so I switched that out for the Dark Quartz ring, this boss's most dangerous attacks being of the dark nature. Other than that, I didn't really change my strategy. Rest of the loadout is the same, and I just took it the same way I did before. It was just a matter of trying and trying again until I got the hang of it again, and having enough of the attack patterns go my way. One thing that a lot of people like to do, Pyro in general is pretty good in this battle if you have the intelligence and faith to make it sting decently. But one thing a lot of people like to do is have a high-powered Firestorm variant ready to go, like Fire Tempest, or Chaos Firestorm, or best of all, Outcry, and then setting that off at close range as soon as the Dark Lurker splits, because if you're lucky, a good amount of the Fire Spouts will hit both of the Dark Lurkers and just rapidly devastate the rest of his health. I don't tend to favor that strategy because, for one, I don't tend to have a lot of intelligence and faith, which means my Pyro doesn't hurt as much as it might. And the other thing is, it's just a little bit of a crapshoot. You know, even though you have 2 targets, those Firestorm spouts might not hit very often. You're always taking a little bit of a gamble with Firestorm variants. Anyway, as you can see, I'm not having real good luck here with the portal orbs, but this is going to be the successful one. Yeah, I'm actually getting really careless in the single body stage of the fight, but the single body stage, you really have plenty of opportunities to heal. It's much, much less dangerous. It's when the body split happens that things start to get nasty. Because you've got two sets of attacks to follow, you've got any number of possibilities of melee and various types of projectiles that could be flying at you at one time, and sometimes they split up and make it hard to track them. It's funny that this ended up being the successful run because, yeah, I'm really just not playing very well. And I think the Dark Quartz Ring +2 might have saved me there because I had very little health left over after taking that handful of attacks. One thing that VaatiVidya has mentioned, Vaati being a pretty popular Souls series YouTuber, if you're not familiar with him, one thing Vaati has said about why he really likes this boss fight is that the first half, when there's just one of them, really gives you an opportunity to get used to the boss's attack patterns and, you know, what the safe times are, what the good opportunities are to defend and attack. And then, once you've gotten the hang of it, the gloves come off and you fight two at once, and really the single body phase just serves as training for that, and then you put your training to the test when you fight both of them at once. And I think that's a very good point. Once again, I notice I am not being very aggressive here, but while your mileage may vary, for me this is very much a slow and steady wins the race kind of battle. Just don't take a lot of risks, be very careful of the exploding portal orb thing, for just that reason. Just pick your shots and heal when you have to, and it'll come out okay in the end. Fact of the matter is, most of the attacks individually really aren't all that dangerous, especially if you have a good dark blocking weapon. It occurs to me a dark infused Rebel's Great Shield might actually be a pretty good choice for this rather than a vanilla one, because then you would have 100% dark block, and the fire attacks are really pretty easy to strafe out of the way of. Everything else seems to be dark elemental, although I'm not positive about that sword. Well, just food for thought. At any rate, this one seems to be all over but the crying. Don't know what hit me at the end there, but doesn't matter. Just a lingering hitbox, I suppose. Whew. Tough stuff. It's kind of a theme of Souls games that the most challenging boss fights are the most rewarding, and I think the most fun. Because the Dark Lurker, I probably have died more times to it than any other boss, possibly even the Fume Knight, but it's a lot of fun to fight. Even if it gets a little frustrating sometimes, you do really feel good when it's all said and done. I would say it might be the toughest boss in the vanilla game, not counting the DLC. And considering that it's an optional boss at the end of a bunch of challenge dungeons, that seems fitting enough. Anyway, I will be moving on in a moment to the exit, which is just through a bit of cave up ahead. You can just go through the little cave opening, and then there's another hole in the ground with the usual glowing fog that'll take you out of here. But before we move on, we will get our standard equipment set put into place. Gonna put on one of my protection rings, I think, because we do have some good soul collection from the boss there. Alright, exit, where are you? There we go. And before we take the final plunge, while we're still in a nice safe place, we can take a look at that boss soul. Interesting that it's a bright soul rather than a dark-looking one. Soul of what lurks in the dark chasm. The dark chasm of old is the remnant of some ancient dissipated being. Well, that would seem to refer to Manus again, but the Dark Lurker is different from what we usually see in the remains of Manus. Very different looking from the Children of Dark. And although it's kind of androgynous, it reads more male to me than female like the Queen's did. Well, who knows, maybe it's the body of Manus, or maybe it's the remnant of the Abyss itself. I don't think the game will ever really give us a solid answer on that. But that's FromSoft for you. Now that we've defeated the Dark Lurker, the Dark Chasm of Old portals are permanently open to us. And we get our Covenant maxed.
Young undead, you've discovered the truest dark within you. A deep, deep dark it is. The dark that we must all face. We need the Abyss more now than ever.
Now that is a really interesting statement, but before I can ruminate on it too much or examine the spoils of our efforts... Pow! Invaded.
May the dark shine your way.
That thing he says at the end of his Covenant Maximum dialogue there, though, that really does interest me. We need the Abyss now more than ever. Now the Abyss is something most people would prefer to avoid. I mean, just ask Artorias or Dusk or any of the former citizens of Ulasil. But Grandal seems to think it's something we need. I wonder if by we he means the pilgrims, or the undead, or all of humanity. We'll never get an explanation for that, but... wow, I really have to wonder what his rationale is there. Perhaps it's through the Abyss that we can face the dark that he says that we all have to face within ourselves? It's a real good question. Unfortunately, we will get no substantive answers, but it can be an interesting thing to think about, I suppose. Anyway, there is one more thing we can get from Grandal before we finish our business with him and look at all the cool stuff we just won. But before I go back and finish talking to him, I'm gonna find my invader, and there she is. Another polite one, I'm always glad to see that. That was some very weird hitboxery there, but fortunately it didn't hurt me too much. This fight with Alice ends up being kind of strange. We really just slug it out. I don't know what she's using that causes so much damage to my equipment. My third dragon ring, as you can saw, almost broke there. But this turned into a slugfest, and... yeah, slugfest with someone with 50 strength wielding a +10 greatsword is a slugfest you probably don't want to get into. Ah well, gets me one of my effigies back. And now we are free to revisit with Grandal. I think I got myself turned around a little bit here. What am I doing? Oh yes, that's right, I wanted to head back to the bonfire and get my dragon ring fixed up and burn an effigy just to make sure that doesn't happen again while I try and finish up business here. I did continue with post-commentary through to the end of the video, just because even after defeating the Dark Lurker I had some problems with my live commentary, and just decided to scrap it and re-record some post-commentary. Do pardon our dust. Anyway, we've just got one more thing to pick up from the old Dark Diver down there, and then we will be pretty much done for the day, although... now that I think about it, we are going to need to trade in that boss soul as well. There is only one thing you can get for the Dark Lurker's soul, and that is a trade with Strayed. It has no relevance to Ornifex. But first, our final reward from the Pilgrims of Dark.
Finally, not young. I bequeath these to you. Take them on your pilgrimage.
And our final Covenant reward, a lovely dragon chime. And for a Covenant based around dark and granted by a person obsessed with dark, I find this to be a rather strange reward, for reasons you'll see in a moment when we get a look at its stats. See, it has an S scaling in lightning, but a B scaling in dark. Tremendous faith requirement, but yeah, I mean, it's good for dark, but it seems that that should be reversed, that it would be, like, amazing in dark and just good in lightning. A sacred chime shaped as a dragon, a catalyst for miracles and hexes. This chime sat long in the dark chasm, but still one senses a sublime purity. Only those with the deepest faith can wield this chime, but they will be rewarded with greatly amplified spells. And in addition to its outstanding lightning scaling, it has tremendous casting speed, like the opposite of the chime which screams in that regard. We also got Climax, which is a hex that distorts the power of life. Emits a massive dark, but at the cost of all souls. Strength varies depending on the number of souls. Not a hex to be used lightly. So yes, the power of this hex scales depending on how many souls you have in your current count, and you will use all of them when you cast it. At a certain threshold, it is tremendously powerful, but beyond that threshold, any souls that you use are wasted, so you do want to kind of budget carefully if you want to use this one with maximum efficiency. But it does pack one hell of a punch. And finally, we got the Xanthus set, which you may remember if you watched my Dark Souls 1 LP, or if you're just particularly familiar with Dark Souls 1. This blindingly bright yellow costume is said to have been worn by the Xanthus King. Perhaps the heinously towering headcloth crown served some purpose, or perhaps it was some strange display of power. And just like before, the Xanthus crown just makes you look like a big old mummy-wrapped yellow Q-tip. But interestingly, it is now blood-stained around the head. Makes you wonder what its history has been since the events of Dark Souls 1. Seems like it's been through some rough times. Indeed, despite the costumes being in near tatters, its yellow hues are mysteriously unfaded. And yeah, it looks like the overcoat is still in reasonably good shape. I mean, it's kind of beat up, but it's at least not bloody like the headpiece is. And likewise, the skirt seems to have remained reasonably clean. Maybe the last person who owned the Xanthus gear just took a nasty headshot from a crossbow or something. Anyway, it's all conjecture. We want to get dressed again so we're decent. And we'll cube on over to our good buddy Strayed.
Well, this is a most peculiar soul. Very good indeed. Unusual souls produce unusual spells.
Well, the Dark Lurker was a rather unusual critter, and it does indeed produce an unusual spell, Life Drain Patch. Consume a number of souls and affix dark to a certain spot. Inflicts damage upon those who touch it. This distorted dark, brewed by hexers, drains the life force of those who touch it. And it works pretty much like it sounds. Casts a spot of dark in a certain place, lingers there for a while, hurts anyone that touches it.
Feeble, cursed one. Do you really think you can manage the glories that are my spells?
No. Anyway, the unusual thing about Life Drain Patch is that it will hurt anything. Enemies, yourself, friendly phantoms, host players that summoned you as a friendly phantom. I'm sure you can begin to imagine the trolling potential. Anyway, that's about all the time we have for today. All we really got done was the Dark Chasm of Old, but we did get that taken care of, so I'll call it a win if you will. And that means that next time, we can devote all of our time to the endgame, and a bit of post-game material. So thank you again for sharing the journey so far, and I hope to see you soon when we conclude the first loop of Dark Souls 2. Take care, and I'll see you then. Today's Dark Dive has been brought to you by Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zangamarth, Charlie Dunst, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Johnny Millennium, Sanguine Games, Misha Van Doren, Craig Patterson, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., Lolo De Puzzlo, Joshua C. Ritchie, Jared C. Rice, Darren Chow, Sonic Rose, EX Potemkin, Alicia Goranson, Argyle Jelly, Mechasaurus, DG Jono, Doug Russell, August Fortnight, and other generous pilgrims. Thank you all very much for your watching, and your comments and subscriptions as appropriate. I am grateful to all those who explore Drangleic with me, so have a good one, and may the dark shine your way.